Thrand here, and we're here with a very special episode. This is basically a response or reply video where we're going to test the end him rightly. A lot of people have asked me about it, what we thought about it. It was actually a real technique from the old Gladiatoria manual that actual Skallagrim Nilsson, which we'll put a link in the video where you can go there immediately and check it out and see what he had to say about it. And he'll show the depictions out of the actual manual. I believe it's in depiction 13. Could be wrong, it's 13. You actually have the man unscrew his pommel, and they show the threads and everything. He's staying in a position something like this, and once he gets the pommel off, he throws it at his opponent, hitting him in the head, and then rushes in to finish him. At least that's what the texts say. To throw the pommel, and then rush in and finish him with your sword or spear whenever you see fit. Well, we believe, because we have a sword here that was put together very unusually for the time period, that it has threads on it, and the pommel was screwed off. What I did is I had a disc pommel that was laying around from an old sword that happened to fit it. So I was like, well, it works. I can put this on here for us to test it out, and I think the disc has a little more weight and it would be a little more viable to test, because I imagine that the pommel would be quite heavy if it does have any effect. If it could it give you an element of surprise? Could it kill the man? If the guy was unarmored and it was a judicial duel, not everybody had armor in judicial duels, could it injure him? So that may be what they were depicting. Who knows? Maybe the guys were both wearing armor, and maybe the other guy wouldn't be wearing armor when you did it. Or, of course, you'd have the advantage anyway. But maybe you both weren't wearing armor, and they just showed it depicted in armor when they wrote the manual because they were drawing what they saw. That's possible as well, because they show armored combat in unarmored people because they're practicing because it's hot. So they're doing armored techniques and wearing regular clothing, and people look at that and go, why is he half swording? Well, more than likely, it was they were in the heat and the artist was drawing what he saw as the master was going through the techniques and talking about what they trained in and how they did it. So today, what we're going to do is see if there's any validity to the end him rightly. And what I have done is I've got a gel head set up specifically for this, a brand new gel head, and we have a helm on it. And the helm has a grill, but this would normally be a visor with a little slit. And the idea here is, if it hit the guy, would it jar his head enough? Would it be like getting hit by an axe or be hit by something, you know, like a thrown spear? Would the force be enough to make him feel that and stun him so you could get in on it? We're believing that maybe that could be the idea behind it. It could be very viable. And we'll also test that on unarmored as well. So let's go ahead and see what happens, and we're going to set up for this and try it out. I'm unscrewing the pommel. I hit a hair high there. I might try throwing again, but as I saw, the helm looked like it kicked back quite a bit, and I hit a hair high. I'll throw again and see what happens. Ooh!
Oh, yeah, right on the face.
Ooh, I saw that, and the way that jarred the entire head. That looked like it'd be devastating. I don't know, but that looked devastating enough. I'm wondering what it would do to an actual person unsuspectingly if you hit him right in the face like that, with him unsuspected and it jarring his entire head. I don't know, but that looked disorienting. I'm sorry, in the ring, yes, that's something we need to test. We need to actually test that and see what actually happens to a live subject, I think.
Yeah, that's the only way to really know, because the dummy can't give us any feedback.
Right, he can't flinch and can't, yeah.
Well,
that's the only thing I can
he's
say.
not alive.
I don't think he's injured in there at all, if you look at physical injury.
I think there's more going on underneath that helmet that we need to find out about. I'm going to suit up, and we're going to try this out, see what happens with a live subject.
All right, Eldgrim's standing here in the amount of plate he needs to protect his head. He's got a visor that's open, but it's a grill, so it should protect him properly. We want to see what the impact would do. Would that be enough to stun him if he was standing there in armor that could protect him? Is it going to be as hard as an axe? Is it going to feel like a hammer hitting him? We're going to find out and see if it would actually give me any kind of advantage. So I'll start off here with my arming sword and my spear. He's going to stand here ready, like he's ready to fight. And I will unscrew it nonchalantly as I get ready to scream lay on. Oh! Would that have stunned you at all? I took a second to run in because I saw that hurt. How did it feel?
It's not enough. I think you can do it again.
Okay, do it a little bit harder. All right, we'll just start from where we're at. I'll throw a little harder. I'm here. This is supposed to be a surprise, so to speak. So we'll see how this
Make
goes.
sure my face is set.
Yeah, we don't want it.
All right. Fuck. All right, lay on.
Ah! Oh! How'd that feel?
Well, it doesn't really jar my neck much, but the surprise and the ringing of the ears is what does it. I have to say that it doesn't really hurt me. It doesn't jar my neck. I think a lot of it has to do with preparation because I'm not surprised. I think because I know you're going to do it, my muscles tense and I feel like prepared. Like, you know what I mean? Like I already tightened my muscles and prepare for it.
Yeah.
So I don't think if you were prepared that it would jar your neck and you get that little whiplash. I can feel it from the impact. But also, I think the most disorienting thing is when you get your bells rung, the ringing is so loud and high pitched that for a second there I can't even hear your footsteps for a moment.
You're not thinking about me coming at you.
Well,
Changes
no,
your
I'm
whole-
thinking about it, but it like you flinch and then you have the ringing.
And in a real duel, you'd be confused for a second if the guy hit you with a spear or something, or how'd he get you if you didn't know.
That's possible, but since I know what's going on, I think that kind of makes a difference because, like I said, I feel like I'm tensing my traps, my trapezius muscles, which do a lot to control your neck and your shoulders. So I think that since I'm prepared when you're throwing, I'm not being caught by surprise. I feel like that's stopping the whiplash effect.
Otherwise,
But
you might get an actual neck injury.
I can tell you from the impact alone that if I wasn't prepared and I didn't have my muscles engaged to be prepared for it, I know it would rock your head back. I know it will.
It would be enough to daze you.
Absolutely. And with the ringing of the ears and all, it messes up how much you can hear. In fact, my ears are still ringing.
So it'd be a good form of Metsubushi like the ninja would use to
I
throw
think
like
so.
blinding powder in a man's eyes.
You definitely. As long as your opponent doesn't see you unscrewing, it doesn't have time to prepare himself physically for the impact.
It would help you close without possibly getting attacked while you're closing.
That's what I
To
think.
getting grappling range to finish him with a dagger or a spear or sword or what have you in closing range.
That's exactly what I think.
And you got ended rightly, technically.
Well, technically, but I think my opinion is I think that without armor on, this is going to do a hell of a lot more damage.
Oh yeah, if you manage to pull it off in that situation.
But I'm not saying that in armor it doesn't do you any good. It does you some good. It's going to help you. I feel like it's a useful technique. But I want to see what it does against something without armor. You're not throwing it at my head.
No,
Like Cabeza is not getting busted.
All right, after seeing how devastating that was on an actual helm and the gel head, and seeing the effects on Eldgrim, of course, he was prepared for it. So his neck muscles were tight. It was like he was ready for the punch. There was no surprise in the point of he might get a whiplash or something. So even from that, I mean, we had an extreme effect. So we're going to see what would happen if, let's say, your opponent wasn't wearing his helmet, which is possible. In judicial duels, they weren't always evenly matched people. They couldn't afford armor. You wore your own armor. So if the guy was unarmored or you both were unarmored and you tried the same technique, which it might have been an unarmored technique, what would the effect be? So let's go ahead and see what happens. Oh! Whoa. It glanced off the skull. This tore a hole in the skull. There is an indention that is so deep I can stick about a ½ inch into it. So this man would be down. I don't think that would knock you out. The skull, the one hitting you right in the forehead, you would be down. Whether there's any blood or bleeding coming from inside the skull out the cerebral fluid, you'd still be bleeding. You would have a hole in your head. These.
Oof! Right in the mouth.
Oh, that had to hurt. We actually busted gel that shows extreme bruising and bleeding. This would have torn your mouth open and knocked your teeth out. We don't have actual teeth here. Oof. Ew, that was devastating. We busted the whole entire cheek open.
Yeah, it looks like you hit him right in the jaw.
Yeah, I think he'd be down.
That'd be a broken jaw for sure.
Cheek hit here, same kind of thing. You would have shattered the cheekbone. You would have the Rice Krispies in the head and all that. It would have been like a serious boxing injury where you get your actual bone broken in the face here, which I've had that before. It's horrible. I mean, it could be worse than that, technically. That's just the mild part of it. Oh! Ugh. It was a complete face shot, and they ripped the face completely open.
That's ugly.
That is nasty.
And it's bleeding inside.
Oh,
You broke the PVC pipe inside. It's bleeding inside.
I see it. We did. From that impact, this actually snapped into the neck.
from the impact.
That tells me the internal damage that would do to you is
Extreme.
if you were not wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
Oh!
Nice hit.
Oh gosh. I think we have a little bleeding now. I can see the blood right here. You can see the blood coming out right here at the bottom. And it's actually draining down through our busted mouth and out. That is gruesome. And you can see the blood draining along the inside of the skull where it's cracked and coming down as well. The crack comes down and across from the impact. So this was an extreme blunt trauma. This is not a cut. This is not a piercing. This knocked a hole in this head from the impact. So that gives me an idea that this is like getting hit with a hammer or the back of an axe, not the actual edge, but the actual hammer part of the axe on the back, or a mace. So yes, if you're wearing no helmet and you get hit like this unluckily, you're not going to have a broken jaw or a headache, you're going to be dead. That's exactly what I'm seeing right here. So yes, you could end him rightly if he was wearing no helmet with one shot from the pommel possibly. It'd be a chance in hell and luck. All right, well I think we ended Ivar rightly, no pun intended. If you were unarmored and got hit in the skull, this shows the potential, not every single hit, but it could actually crack your skull. I think it would knock you out at the very least. You'd more than be dazed if it even glanced your head. If you got hit in the face, I think that'd be it. You'd be laid out. You'd have teeth missing, broken jaw. We saw neck damage, and even in a helmet, you might have an open face. If you had an open face, it could still end you with just the pommel hit. If you had a helm on with a actual visor, just the stunning effect, because Eldgrim was ready for it, I think would stun you enough that it would be a Mitsubishi type thing where you stun the guy and rush in and finish him by stabbing with your spear or sword up under the armpit or in an open area. So what we're thinking is our conclusion is that this is an actual viable technique, even though it seems silly as could be. If you had coarse threads on here where it's easy to unscrew, you are both in visors possibly, or one of you is or one of you isn't. It's harder to see what's going on, especially when you're nervous at a duel. If you didn't expect the man to do it, we think it could be a surprise and actually end him rightly, or at least after the fact that you stunning him or dazing him. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing Skall's reply to us, Skallagrim Nilsson on it. So we say hail to you, and I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and farvel.